those of you I haven't met or just met very briefly, I'm Virginia Lazenby. I am a certified senior downsizing coach and realtor. I'm the founder and host of the seminars for you newbies, which we are delighted to have new people join us each month. This is actually our 7th year of doing the seminars. And I see Susan kind of nodding here. You've been with us a long time. We were at the public library for a year. There's some more seats over here. And then we moved to First Presbyterian, and we were there for 3.5 years or so for COVID. And then we went on virtual on Zoom. You know, we have a love-hate relationship with Zoom. But anyway, fortunately, we've moved beyond that, so we've been here since January of this year. And it's been fun to see because I see faces coming back who were with us at First Presbyterian. And then some continued with Zoom and some did not. And so now some of us are reconnecting as returnees and some of us are brand new. So we're glad to have you with us. The purpose of the seminars is very much to educate, equip, inform seniors and their families to make informed choices and empowered decisions. As I worked with seniors originally more just with selling homes, and I began to see the real need to support more than when you're selling your home, where there's just a lot of support needed. And that's what I wanted to do. So I had to do a lot of learning myself, a lot of networking to find the right people to help us put this all to fill those gaps when seniors were moving. And so I've been fortunate over the years to make those contacts. I want for seniors to have the best care and to live life to the fullest. And that means they're in the best environment for you at the time. And for some, then that's a transition. And those transitions can seem completely overwhelming. They don't need to be. We can make it as simple as possible. Reduce the stress, reduce the overwhelm. And so part of that is to share information with you monthly. The seminars are intended to be informational. And then always the opportunity to make connections with outstanding resources and then to follow up for more information. And so I'm just really thrilled to be able to do this. I'm going to briefly introduce our educational partners. We have services and business that we've invited to partner with us because they too share a commitment to educate, not just to market their products, services, whatever, but they know the importance of you having information so you can make decisions. And so we're going to just, let me see, I'm going to start. They're hidden over there. If I'll let you come over here, you can start making. No, I'm going to, here, this is what we've learned that works better. I'm going to do the introductions, and then we'll see if I need to add something, I will. But we have with us visiting angels. Stacy Scarborough is with us today to provide home care. And you know, we learned that there are lots of misinformation sometimes. Oh, I have to enter into a long-term contract, I have to do this. Go get the actual information. So yes, she's representing Visiting Angels, but also the larger industry of home care. She can also answer some questions about home health too. But we appreciate the support of Visiting Angels. We have Wesleyan, there's Christy, okay. Christy Schuler, I always have to think what Brian okay. Schuler. Okay, so we're delighted to have Christy with us. Visiting Wesleyan, you know, a mainstay here in the community that is able to does offer from their independent living, assisted living, memory care, skilled nursing, home health, home care, hospice.
And rehab.
Oh, I forgot one. Rehab, okay. All right. So again, she can tell you about Wesleyan itself. There's some places right over there. There's 2 seats right there. there's some back there too. So again, she can talk about the industry in general and more specifically about Wesleyan. So we appreciate your support. Then we have, I'm going to skip over to Will Boughton with Vera Bank for estate. You want to stand up, Will? For estate planning, asset management. Vera Bank and their whole group really has a focus on education and helping people be prepared. And if some of you are selling at home and are going to be wondering what to do with some of that money, to help plan out. But they will anyway, just go visit with Will about related to estate planning and asset management. So we appreciate the support of Vera Bank. And we have a new sponsor today, a new educational partner from North Star. Patricia, you want to stand up? North Star is a new community here in Georgetown. It is a 55-plus community out here on Westinghouse, just past 1460. We've been talking in our seminars about we're seeing more and more of these apartments, active adult 55 plus. And we have these little niches that we all serve, our community serve. So for the people who are, I'm ready to move beyond home maintenance and all of that, but I really don't need to have my meals provided, but I want the social engagement and opportunities. There's a great example. And Patricia will visit with you about North Star, but also, again, just about that niche we see in the senior industry of active adult 55 plus apartments. So we're delighted to have North Star with us. And Debbie Brockway, you moved it. Oh, yeah, you were right there. Debbie is going to be at our Seniors Living Smarter Services table. That is actually my business. It is an LLC. It's a downsizing company. It's confusing. I have my real estate, but I saw the need to really provide comprehensive, complete service so that the move can be as easy as possible. So we formed Seniors Living Smarter Services that includes both the preparation for the house, I'm saying that because that's what Debbie's role is, to coordinate the whole move, liquidation to get rid of the stuff that's left, and of course the real estate component is related to that. So Debbie will be at that table, and then we'll have another surprise at that table today, which I'll explain in just a minute. Okay, so now I want to introduce Brielle Bard is our wonderful assistant. She's going to do a Vanna White demonstration of your wonderful binder. So, and she's just amazing support. Okay.
Good morning. So a lot of you are new this morning. For some of you, this will be repeat, but just wanted to go over these binders. This is going to be a resource guide for you. Like Virginia said, each month when you come, you'll get a handout, a packet that has the information materials about today and about that topic. When we start getting a lot of papers like that and we shove them in our bag and then we put them in one place, it gets a little complicated. We can't go back and find them. So we put this binder together for you so that you have a one-stop place to find all your materials. They're divided out each month with the packet, the different colors, so you can go through and say, oh, peace of mind, what was that? And you'll be able to easily find those materials. Also, each month in your packet is going to be a yellow sheet of paper that includes a feedback form. So tell us your thoughts about the seminars. And also on the back of that is for us to collect contact information if we don't already have it. If you are new and you walked in today, we'd like to get that information. And also if you would like us to register you for the next month, you can turn this in today and then we can take care of the registration for you. And then if there's anything newsy, like today, there's an ad. We're going to be doing a shred event in May, which is exciting, and I know you're all going to want to start getting your boxes of papers together.
So when you finish your income tax, you can get rid of that you can now.
And then there's also going to be an area where a form where you can make notes on the front of this. We know while the presenters are talking that you've got lots of questions. Save those to the end so you can fill out your sheet and put any questions that you might have that pop up during the presentation. They may be answered while presenters are speaking. So jot those down, and then some action steps each month. So we hope that these binders will help you to be able to organize your materials from us each month. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
So I want to say one thing, Brielle is so amazing, but I'm really disappointed in her. When I asked her to do this Vanna White demonstration, she was supposed to come as Vanna White. Now, I mean, she does very well without the white silver gown that she wore to a gala a few weeks ago. But I told her, and she said, "What am I supposed to dress in?" I guess, of course. Why did I give you a heads up? I told you last night and not this morning after you got here.
Maybe next month.
My husband walks in this morning and says, "Brielle, where's the gown? That's why I came." Good thing she didn't wear it, because you all would have said, "Okay, we don't want you because then you would want Brielle."
Y'all have fun. Thank you.
She is an amazing, amazing resource. And speaking of other supporters, Jeff Crampton, each month we end up trying out a different position. He's hiding here, sticking his head around here. Jeff and I worked together for over 10 years. Started out designing my website that has evolved many times. And anyway, he works with us now, not only on the website and marketing, but tech. So an interesting story. Those who have been here before have heard this. Jeff was in Pennsylvania when we started working together. And lo and behold, his daughter married a fellow who was coming out of the Navy. And guess where his next employment was? Austin. He's a tech person. He came to Austin. Well, Jeff and his wife, Allison, was their only child, and she had twin boys, I think 3 at the time we moved, and they weren't even that old.
They were 3.
Okay. So, I mean, if your grandkids are moving to the area, you know, you come too. So now, pretty convenient. Now he's local. It's funny how things develop over the time. So, okay, housekeeping, as Brielle mentioned, we'll answer questions at the end. We just found that a lot of times they get answered along the way. And before I ask our panelists to come up today, just to give a little bit more context, our title about taking the overwhelm out of downsizing. Downsizing means a lot of different things. For what we're focusing on, and even focusing deeper in one part, is when people are actually ready to move and you're getting organized for that move. It is overwhelming. And it can be so overwhelming, I see heads nodding, that some people say, "Forget it. I'm never doing it." Well, you know, I think you're missing out. And then we'll talk about other little detours along the way there. But when I think about how we support people in reducing the stress and the overwhelm to make it as easy as possible. Are you all hearing me okay?
I don't think your microphone's on. I guess we need to move over here.
Yeah, we got it. I think it is. Okay.
It's on.
Okay, I'll speak louder. I see some major chunks in what I call a downsizing puzzle. There are lots of pieces to put together. And I'm going to flip to that slide if we can get to that. So when you're doing, I call it active downsizing, that's when we're really getting ready for that move. So we're sorting, we're packing, we're unpacking at our new place and getting set up in our new place. Some of you have picked this up, or we have it over at our Seniors Living Smarter Services table that kind of highlight the different pieces. Sorting, and it's hard, it's very hard. Then another part is liquidation, getting rid of the stuff that you're no longer using. Another major chunk. getting the house ready to go on the market for sale, another chunk there. And then, of course, the selling of the property. Well, today's part of downsizing, we're focusing on that part of what I call the move part. The sorting, organizing, packing, moving, and then getting settled in your new place. So, we'll deal with other topics next, in other sessions. But this is our focus today, the sorting and packing, and there are different categories in there, but getting from one place to the other. So, to help us learn more about that and to learn resources that are available to support us in that move, we have our panel. I'm going to ask our panelists to come up. So, I'm going to, what did we say you were sitting, where are you sitting? Cheryl's in the middle. You want to switch? No, that's fine. Okay. So, can you go ahead and then, I'm just going to do a quick introduction and then they will tell you more about why they're here today. Cheryl Wills, here in the center, is what I'll call her different things, a successful downsizer, or downsized, I guess, or a personal testimony. But she's one who uses service and hear it from, a person who's been through it. And so she will be one of our resources today. And Linda Carter, who is a move manager with Life's Next Step and a terrific move management company, and they're part of our team, but she's also kind of representing move management in general. But these are our expert panelists with us today. We appreciate your being here. So what we're going to do, let me have you all explain more the 30-second elevator speech. You're going to be explaining move management a lot more. And we'll let you start that, and then you can give a little bit brief introduction, and you'll be telling your story along the way too.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and thank all of you all for coming. Again, my name is Linda Carter, and my business is Life's Next Step, and I started it 15 years ago, kind of out of personal experiences with my mom, and then also just kind of some experiences on my own. But what we do is we help individuals or couples get downsized, and whatever that might look like, and we help get them moved into smaller homes, communities across the country, whatever that kind of process might look for you. And I know we're going to get into it a little bit deeper, so I'll kind of hold on that.
Okay, thank you. And remember that point about you moving across the country, this can still help you out. We'll explain more about that. Cheryl.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Wills, and a little over 2.5 years ago, my husband and I downsized from just under 2,500 square feet to 1,750 and moved to the Wesleyan. It was our 9th move, 9.5 if you don't count when I sent my husband overseas for a year with the military and had to pack him up. But I've done all the moving up until then, and this was by far the easiest move we have ever had because of this lady and this lady. And I'll get into more detail in a little bit.
Okay. So I want to start off with that question. It was on our publicity too about preparing for this. I often hear people say, I've moved before. What's the big deal? I don't need to spend money to have someone come do this. I can do it. I'll go and add this part too. Or my kids will do it for me, no problem, we got it all under control. Well, that's encouraging to hear people chuckle about that. We'll fill in a little more about that. So, Cheryl, is this move, you are an experienced mover. And
Yes.
when I first met with you about this, we've moved a lot. But then, so what's your answer to that? Is this really that different?
This is a totally different move than any move you've made before. Probably what you've done before is, before the movers came, you sort of tried to get rid of some stuff. But the movers came, they packed everything you had up, and they moved it. This move, you've got to get rid of a lot of stuff to move into assisted living, independent living, wherever you're going, most of you probably independent living. You're gonna have to get rid of a lot of stuff. Plus, as my husband tried to reinforce into my little mind, you're not as young as you were when we moved 18 years ago. I heard that a lot. And I thought, you know, I really probably should have some help. And then Virginia stepped in, gave me Linda's name, and Linda and her sidekick, Brooke, who I wish she could have been here. She's phenomenal, her second in command. They went through our house and opened every drawer and every cabinet and every closet and had.
Don't freak out.
Yeah, no,
Some people already freak out.
it really, truly, somebody's gonna go through all that stuff, right? The movers are, or your kids someday, if you leave it all to them. They went through, they were very good about it. They took, I don't know how many pages of notes, big note papers. By the time they were done, they had an estimate for us of how long it would take and how much.
This was the first meeting. I mean,
This is the first meeting, this first time we ever saw these people. And they just come in and they know what they're doing. They've done this so much. Right away, we knew that we had to do this. We had to work with them. This move was going to be different, and why have you saved your money if not to help yourself? It is worth the stress level, if nothing else. Put your hand up if you've moved and it's been stressful. Maybe a little. This took all the stress out of the move. They just did everything. And you will do as much or as little as people want. So if you don't want them to do everything like we did, you don't have to have them do everything. How far do you want me to go into this?
well, I think you've got,
Okay.
you've given them good.
I could go on for hours
You
about
can
this.
visit more with Cheryl for the personal behind the stories there. Okay, so, you know, reducing stress and helping people get going. That's the reason I stressed one appointment is I know some of you were going, well, this is, you know, going to take a long time to figure all that out. To me, it's completely magical what they do. Linda's going to explain that. I generally go on first appointments and my head swims at all they can accomplish. And to see, well, I'll say that next part. Linda, from the downside, from the move manager's point of view, what's going on? When, you know,
On the first meeting?
yeah, and how do you know it's going to take 65 boxes in 2 days to pack everything up?
Crazy mind of having done it so many years, I guess. But yeah, so basically what we're doing on that first meeting is we come in, it's a complimentary meeting. We come in, we sit down with you. We hope that you have a floor plan maybe where you're going to move, but sometimes people don't have them yet, and that's okay too. But what we do is we want to talk to you about, if you're moving into an independent living circumstance. Maybe you have 1 bedroom or you have 2 bedrooms. So what we're going to do is, talk to you about, okay, so what do you want to do with the second bedroom? Is it going to be an office? Is it going to be a guest room? Is it going to be your fly tackling place or your sewing room? So we want to talk about kind of what it is that makes your house, and what are the very important pieces. So we're going to walk around too, and we are going to open up all the cabinets and doors, and we don't ask for like major detail, like what do you want to take? Do you want to take this little spoon and this little spoon? It's really more like, okay, when you look in your kitchen, do you want to take 10% or 50% that you see inside this closet? So it's not asking for answers on everything. It's just kind of a general kind of thought process. What we're trying to do is hear how much you think you're going to want to take. Are you being realistic about what's going to fit into the new place? So we're kind of hearing all of those types of things. And then, so through that process of walking through with you, I want to know what's important to you furniture-wise. I want to know the pieces that you love. I'm looking for pieces too that I think will be functional, that maybe you guys hadn't thought about, because in this case, many times we are repurposing furniture to make it a different, maybe it was used one way forever and ever and ever, but now, we got to have something different, being used as something different. So I'm looking at that. We're looking at, okay, so what services do you need? Do you want to have just a floor plan created? Do you want to have the floor plan and the logistics and packing and oversight and unpacking, or do you want to go across the country? Do you need help finding curtains? So we kind of go through all of that type of stuff with you, and then we kind of go back into it. And then we walk around your house by ourselves, and we go back again, and we're literally looking, you know, how long is it going to take to pack that bookcase? She wants 50% of it, so we're going to pack 50% of that. What does that take? You know, they've got like craft model airplanes that are going to take forever to pack. What does that look like? Or they have books. Those are quick. So it's literally a matter of watching, looking at each section in your home to create a time that it's going to take. Then we're looking at what's it going to take to oversee the movers on the move day. What's it going to take to unpack and get things set up? So it's kind of just that process of creating. It's just kind of like checking off the list of what has to be done, what do you want to have done. That good? Okay.
And I think Linda made an important point there about when they're going through, they're looking, what makes your house your house? Because really what you're wanting to do when someone moves off, you know, say a lot of round numbers here, someone's moving from say 1,900 square foot home or 2,000 to an apartment maybe 800 or 1,000 square feet. Okay, we're moving down to about half. And that, you know, when you're talking about that kind of percentage. But they're also sensitive, our good move manager is, to what is it that is important to you and how can we create that feeling in your new place. Right. It's not just institutionalized. You're very sensitive to the senior and making it smooth, and so when we move into our new place, it can feel as comfortable as possible. Yeah. So some people, a key part, and we'll come back to this, is that sorting. How do we identify what's going with us? But we're going to get into that in more detail. But Cheryl, did you feel you were overrun? Did they just do it and you didn't have any input, or how did?
Absolutely not. And I was going to make that point. I've talked to people since we've moved, and they said, well, I don't want anybody coming in my home and telling me I can't take Aunt Mabel's dresser. They will not do that. They will suggest to you things that maybe will work or won't work, because like Linda said, they have your floor plan. They know where you're moving and how much square footage, what the walls are, where the windows are. They know all that. At never one time did they say, no, you can't take that. It doesn't work that way.
No, they may suggest.
They will suggest, and if you don't like their suggestion, you just say, I really have to take that. And they will make it work. So no, they aren't going to come in and ride roughshod over you and say this is the way it is. Not at all.
Yeah, we definitely understand this is your life, not our life, and we want you to be happy with where you're going to be living. So it's our job to give you guys a little bit of pushback and say, you know, hey, I don't know if Aunt Mabel's table is really going to be a great fit. It's wobbly, it's maybe not sturdy, but if it's that important to you, then we're going to figure out a way to make that happen. And, you know, so anyway, it's your life. And we, you know, like I said, we give a little bit of pushback, but ultimately, you all are the last decision makers on everything. You know, we want you happy.
One of the reasons that I push so hard for move management is I've just seen so many times when people arrive at their new place and, let's pick on the adult children right now. And so the kids, with very good intentions, oh, Mom, don't worry about it. Dad, don't worry about it. We'll do it for you. Don't spend that money. We'll do it for you. We'll go get a U-Haul and we'll move it all over there. We got it all under control. No problem. Intentions are good, but look behind the scenes. My biggest concern is too often I see people arrive with too much stuff. Too many boxes. And you know, it's not a big deal. Well, it is a big deal. I mean, it affects you. I mean, it just makes it hard all the way around. Our intentions are good, but I've gone to see people, okay, it's all moved in here. And besides being exhausted, you know, we need help in kind of narrowing down, you know, how much will fit and what can we do with it. And the mother, with good intentions for involve the children in other ways, get them to take some of the stuff sooner, and that. If they're going to take time off from work to come do this for you, how much, is that going to cost, or traveling back and forth, especially in these days, apply that money to, and I've seen in situations where kids would go, wonderful, you know what, I'm going to make a donation so somebody else does this, and we don't have to worry about it. So I just like to say that, and the sooner if this is something you're interested in and see the value of, the sooner you set the stage for that. Because kids are going to right away, oh, don't go there, I'm going to do it for you. You are in control. And that's the reason we value your having your permission and being able to say, here's my plan, and this is what, we think will work best. So,
One biggest complaint, kids say that
I want to zero in on the sorting, that identifying what is going with you. Now, you'll see next month we'll be talking about the decluttering and planning ahead. But that whole idea, when you're getting ready for this move, part of the overwhelm is you're trying to figure out what to do with everything. When you're actually looking at a move coming up, that's the time you really need to be focusing on what's going with you. Don't worry about the other. We'll pray about that in other ways. But what is going with you? And, different systems to help make it clear so the move manager can know what is important, and we may help you refine some of that. And they're experienced at this, so you're moving to where you're not going to be cooking as much. So do you really need to take, 2 sets of cookware? But just to ask some kind of thought-provoking questions sometimes too is important. But as Linda said, even on their first visit, they go through everything just so they know the volume of stuff and begin to think about how to help you make that down. On the sorting, let's zero in on that. Cheryl, what was your role in sorting and narrowing down?
First of all, and I don't know which one of you told me about this, that this was one of the biggest tips that I can give you. Go to Office Depot and buy a couple boxes of red and some of green, little round, removable, make sure they're removable, stickers, because you want to get them off later on. And go through, as you go through things, put a sticker on, get your system. Ours was green goes and red stop, stays here for our estate sale that we had, or get rid of, or whatever. But as you go through things, mark it, and then you don't have to mark it again, or you don't have to say now, did I want this to go with me, or did I want to get rid of it? You've got a sticker on it that tells you. That was one of the biggest things that helped. But I will emphasize, make sure they're removable stickers. I just found one not long ago, actually, on the back of something. That was a dumb place to put it, but I did. But you put it where you can see it. But then at a glance, you can say, oh, that goes. That's got a green sticker on it. That is very helpful. You've talked before about not getting rid of too much if you're going to have an estate sale, but that's another situation. That's a whole other situation. Look at things and try to take the sentiment and the emotion out of it. You just made a comment about the cookware, and I took to, yeah, okay.
We didn't say Cheryl was perfect.
No, not at all. If you're moving into independent living, you don't need your 20-quart pot that you make a lot of soup with. You aren't going to probably make your soup, I'm guessing, because you're going to get your meals there. So think in that manner too, that will I really need to take this? I did not need all 80 or 100 of my spices. Didn't need them. Most of them are gone, you'll be happy to know. But just things like that, little things that you don't think of now. Look at things and say, am I really going to use this? If not, let somebody else have it. Take it to the consignment store or the thrift shop or wherever. Sell it, give it away. Let somebody else enjoy it like you've enjoyed it. And then it's not cluttering up your new place. I was told a story at the Wesleyan. A couple moved in, and the move took all day because when they were done, all they had was a path going through boxes. And the people at the Wesleyan were worried that they would fall during the night, getting up in the dark because they didn't have a lot of lighting, so they took them flashlights so they could see. But there was a case of taking way too much stuff. You don't want that to happen, and I'm sure we'll get later on to our specific move and how it went so quickly, and we were all settled within 2 days. So anyway, but the sorting, look at things seriously. Am I really going to need this? I probably am not on a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so Linda, from your perspective about sorting,
Okay, well, first I want to go back to those removable labels. So those are awesome. That's actually what we use too, but just a couple of things. Just don't put those labels on those gold frames, you know, the ones that kind of have that, like a gold paint, the gold foil leaf. If you do that, it's going to peel off that color, and so you'll be really disappointed. So that was one thing. And then, okay, as far as sorting goes, so one of the things too, kind of a piggyback on what she just stated was, you know, one of the things we'll say too is kind of things like, if you got rid of it and you really determined that you wish you had kept the crock pot, you know, do you have the means to spend $60 to go get another crock pot? And I think that's a good way of dealing with that, as far as, and that's not to mean to be frivolous with your money, but it's like, you know, a crock pot's a big thing that we probably don't use too much. And so it's those types of things, is to kind of look at it and say, if I got rid of it, am I really going to be that upset? It's not the family heirloom, and yet, you know, and the family heirloom is actually something too. You know, if you're not using the family heirloom and it sits in a box somewhere, you know, what good is that too? So it's really a matter of, I think what I do is I suggest that people think in terms of what their daily needs are. That's obviously the most important. What are you going to use daily? Then you get into the things that you really love to look at, things that are useful for you, and that you love to look at, and that you find joy in those things. And then from there, then you kind of get into the, you know, what should I take? You know, is it important? Do I really need that family heirloom? And so you have to get more discerning on that. But for us, really, our first focus is, if we can get you the floor plan, what we'll do is we'll come out and we'll measure all your furniture, or the pieces that we think might be viable, that you're interested in, that type of thing. Then we go measure your exact apartment or home, whatever that case is. And because we want those exact measurements, because when you're dealing with a smaller situation, you're gonna have a thermostat, light switches, we need to know where the coaxial is. So what we'll do is we'll create that floor plan, and we'll do 2 or 3 per room, and you say, hey, I like number 2, but can we tweak it a little bit? We'll get that tweaked and refined so that you're happy with what that looks like. That also gives you a mindset of allowing yourself to start kind of saying goodbye to those pieces that are not going to go with you. And then, but you know, and you can get, you know, excited about knowing how the apartment is going to begin to look. Because that's what I get mostly, is people fearful. I have no idea what's going to fit in here. Nothing's going to fit in here. Or some people are like, everything's going to fit in here. So to get that narrowed down and have a really strong grasp on it, the furniture pieces. I'm not talking about the knickknacks and things like that, but the furniture pieces. Then what that does for us is it gives us a blueprint of what to go with. So if you have a china cabinet that you want to take everything in it, but the china cabinet doesn't fit, well then where are we going to put those things? So then we have to say, do you have a bookcase? Because in these cases, what we need to think in terms of, let's not lay everything out. In the current home, basically you can kind of spread your stuff out a little bit more so. You can put it on countertops and coffee tables and stuff, but you may not have that now. So you have to think in terms of going up. So if you're not having a china cabinet, I'm always looking for bookcases, and I may even suggest, you might need to purchase a bookcase because you want to take a lot of trinkets or you want to take a lot of books, and now we have no place for that. So it's just kind of trying to think that next step forward, and that's why that floor plan is so important. It's important for my team to know how to help you guys, sort and pack when they come in, and it's important for you guys so that you can mentally begin to say, oh, okay, so I've got one bookcase, and I've got 2 bookcases now. What are my most important things inside these 2 bookcases? I can take the quantity of 1 bookcase now. So it's kind of that type of thing. And let's see what else. I think that's kind of some of the main ways of kind of looking at that in the beginning.
And I want to add or kind of extend that, especially when I see families helping move. We get a floor plan, and we can do the floor plan with furniture. Now, we may forget to look for some of those connections and may not allow for windows that are in our way, because obviously they're experienced at that. But I see another problem in, okay, this is the furniture that's going. But somehow then we think we can take everything from every cabinet, every coat closet, every linen, and no, that doesn't work. You know, you gotta narrow that down. So it's not just the floor plan, but it's how many closets do you have? How much hanging space do you have? And of course, again, they're experienced at doing that.
I've got another thought too. So this is kind of important because when you said linen, so one of the things that I see people do is if they go and they start inside their bedroom or their home with three bathrooms maybe. So they go into one bathroom and they pull out 6 towels there. And then a week later they go into another one and they pull another 6 towels out. Well, now they're in the master and they like to, shower and twice a day, so they're gonna take 8 towels there. So now you've got a 1 to 2 bathroom new place, and you've got like 20 towels? So what I recommend that you do is basically, take one day and go gather all the towels from all of the different bathrooms and kind of set them out and say, hey, I really literally only need 4 to 6 towels because I can wash, I do have a washer and dryer, I can get those washed. And then, if it's a guest bathroom, probably 2 to 4 is all that's really needed in there. So then you'll be able to see the mass of what you have. You'll be able to see those guest towels that you never used that were special, that, use them for yourself finally. So that's...
Throw towels, except they're nice to put up when we're selling your home. But if you've moved, they're one per item, so you don't have to worry.
So that's kind of one of the things to do too, is to always kind of think in groups of stuff. Like if you're thinking of the books or whatever, think, okay, gosh, I got 6 bookcases. If I go start just pulling all the ones I really like, so you really have to kind of start narrowing it down to start saying, okay, what are my favorites in this one, and will they all fit in that 6? So that's an important thing to do too. And there was something else you had said that sparked me, but I forgot now.
So, and now, so I want to. Oh, well, that comes on the next one. We're not going to delve into the packing as much right now because I think it's that sorting that is so important. When we're working with the move manager, they arrange for our mover, and because these are experienced movers who know how to pack for where you're going and how to unpack in the order that the move manager needs your apartment to be stuff emptied off the truck so they can right away start getting you moved in. They're not just sitting around and waiting until the truck is unloaded. They start immediately. And so I want to skip on down to that part about, let's talk about the unpacking. And I'm gonna let Linda start on this one. So Linda, give us an overview of how you all unpack to make it as easy as possible.
Okay. Well, first of all, our unpacking starts when we pack. So just because you've got that bookcase in your living room today does not mean that that bookcase is going to go in your living room in the new place. So when we're going through that bookcase with you in your living room at your current home, we may say, we're going to take these items and we're going to pack these for the office. And then these items will go to the living room or whatever. So we call it packing for the unpacked. So whatever we're doing, we're going to put it in a box that goes directly to whatever room that we need that to go into. Whereas a typical mover, you say pack that bookcase, they're going to pack it all up and it's going to, hopefully you have a label on it and hopefully it's going to land in some room, right?
Along with some other stuff from other rooms that they can jam in.
Yes,
They
yes.
don't belong.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. So it's important to begin, the packing process, how you unpack is very important with how we go about the packing process. So then once we get everything there, so what happens on the move day itself? So we typically have one team member that is there. They come in and they pack your last minute items like your bedding, your coffee pot, maybe a lamp or 2, that type of thing. And then they're overseeing the movers. The movers are a third-party company that we partner with that we we strictly use kind of as the muscle. Because my team comes in and they do all of the packing, all of the unpacking and that type of stuff. So they come in, they oversee, my team member will oversee the movers themselves, ensuring that the right furniture gets on the truck. As they finish loading the truck, that one team member will call for the other 2 or 3 team members or whatever else we determine that your apartment needs to have to get successfully unpacked that day. So those other team members will go and meet there, say it starts at 8 or 9 in the morning, the truck arrives at 12 to 1, and the other 3 or 4 team members will meet that one original team member. What we do is we ask the movers to put the kitchen boxes and the wardrobe boxes at the end of the truck so that those are the first things off. Because what we do is we go in and we post the floor plans on each of the rooms so the movers will know where the furniture is supposed to go. And then the team members are inside the kitchen, which is the pathway that the movers are coming in. We can say, but the dresser goes there, this goes there, that type of thing. Plus, we're out of the way. And we are there unpacking the kitchen. The kitchen is the most, time-intensive unpack part of everything typically. So they're in there working that, and somebody else is in there working the wardrobes and getting those undone so that we can give those wardrobe boxes back to the movers because they're so cumbersome to deal with. So we get that all done, and we're kind of out of the way while the movers are putting the bed together and things like that. So that's kind of our first thing that we do. And then as the movers have left, we ensure that they've got the furniture pieces where we think they need to be. We've got the electrical cords plugged in before we put the big huge bookcase up or the TV console. So we get those kind of things plugged in. The movers leave, and then the team kind of just goes into warp speed process at that point. And so our first situations that we're unpacking is we unpack the kitchen, then we're going to the bedroom and the bathroom. We want to make sure that you guys can sleep there that night. Have your coffee in the morning, sleep at night. Then we're pretty much going into the living room and the office or the second bedroom. And so we get all of those things unpacked. And if there's time that night, then we're going to go ahead and hang artwork and stuff like that. If not, we'll come back and hang the artwork on another day if there's a lot of that. So to us, the artwork and the decorative pieces, those are the last things that you pull out. One, because they're more fragile, and two, you really can't tell where the art's going to be hung until after you've placed the furniture and have most things in place. So, yeah, I think that's probably it.
So, the point she's making, and Cheryl will pick up on this, is everything is not only unloaded, and so you said the boxes in your apartment, but their goal is really to have the boxes unpacked. Now, if you're moving to a larger place, there may be some reasons why, and decorative items may be set aside, but the functional items of your new apartment are ready for you. And we often say, we used to say, Cheryl will wince when I say this, or I'll wince when I say it. Generally, Linda would like for the buyer to take the homeowner, to take the day off. That's your day to, go to a movie, go visit with friends, go get a massage, or somebody else is doing all the work. And then you come back to your new place, where a reveal, you walk in and your new apartment is set up. Some homeowners just can't do that, not mentioning names, but I do have people who play by the rules. But Cheryl, now from the homeowner's perspective, even though you hung out there when this was going on.
I stayed out of their way.
Okay, that's the number one rule. So when you came in, did they get your place set up?
You had been at our house, 2-3 days before packing. And on move day, when they say they're gonna show up at 8 o'clock in the morning, they're there. It's not like a lot of times where, it's 10 o'clock and you still haven't seen them. They are there when they say they're gonna be there. By, I think it was 1 o'clock, the moving vans, little ones, they were at our new place, unloading. By the end of that day, the kitchen was set up, our beds were set up, and by set up I mean the throw pillows were on the beds. They had arranged the room, not just tossed it together. It was arranged with throw pillows. By the end of day 2, we had all the boxes gone. We had 2 plastic boxes that we brought with things from the bathroom, you know, toiletries and stuff like that. It was our stuff. All the rest of the boxes were gone. I could have had company over the second night for dessert and coffee. That's how put together the house was. They hung on the second day when they came back to get rid of the last boxes and unpack all that. And they said they would hang artwork, and I thought, we have a lot of artwork, and I thought, they'll hang a few pieces. They hung 17 pieces of art. And I don't mean they took a nail and jammed it into the wall. They measured it. They said, now does this look straight to you? Is this exactly where you want it? But the house was totally put together. And we went to bed the first night. We got up the next morning and had breakfast. We were in. Yeah.
You know,
It's not a surprise to her because that's the way she does it. I also am going to say she needs to have a second job, a second company. She doesn't know about this. She needs to start a second company on how to vet employees. Her people, with 0 exceptions, were the nicest, kindest, most considerate people I have ever had the pleasure of dealing with. They were friends by the time the second day. They were our friends. And I'm going to share a funny story. I think this is hysterical. I think it was Dawn. Is she still? Okay. Dawn came to me the day that they were unpacking the kitchen, and I thought she was going to cry. And she said, "Oh, Cheryl, I'm so upset." She said, "This little spoon rest, I don't know what happened, but it broke. I am so sorry." And I thought, she's gonna collapse on me here. And I looked at her, and I had bought this spoon rest at Cracker Barrel for like $4.95. It was a pig, okay? And being the sense of humor I have, I said, "Oh gosh, Dawn, that's a family heirloom. It's worth thousands of dollars." Well, she got it right away. And we were standing there laughing in the kitchen so hard. But my point of this is we've had other movers who, they maybe break something and they hide it, or they just toss it, and you find out later, where is my little pig spoon rest? It's not here anymore. They came to me, they were upset about it, that it was no big deal. I said, "Dawn, I have Gorilla Glue. That little spoon rest is sitting on my counter to this day. It is fine." But the fact is, they were concerned that they broke something, which that was the only item in that whole move. I've never had a move where things didn't get broken, ever. But that's the kind of people she has working for her.
and I want to echo
Yeah.
that. It's interesting. Yesterday I was down visiting with a woman who had just, one of my clients, who had moved to an independent living community in Round Rock. She moved a couple weeks ago. Linda's team moved her. And we were just reflecting on how it went and what the next steps are in her whole downsizing process. She could not stop talking about how wonderful the team was. She felt respected, she felt comfortable, and just how it was all handled. And then, she was moving to a smaller apartment, and this worked out really cool for her. There was kind of a living area for the community just out in front of her apartment. So she spent the afternoon out there. So she didn't stay in the apartment, but she was close by. But if they had questions for her, but she kept saying, as Cheryl said then too, when she walked in later that day, she just couldn't believe it. Her new home was set up. She said it was just, how many of us have walked into a wall of boxes and tomorrow? But I think that's the beauty of it. And it was just fun to hear this woman yesterday talk about the move and how much she appreciated and how relaxed she felt. And it's not often a feeling on moves day.
Virginia, can I say, this is another, I'm going to share this one, to show you how they put your house together. It was one of the guys, I can't remember which one, he came to me toward the end of the day, the first day, and he said, "Cheryl, I would like you to come in your laundry room. I want to take you on a tour of your new laundry room." Okay. We go in, he had little tchotchkes on top of my dryer that I had on my dryer before. He opened every cupboard in there. He said, now I put this here because it's easy for you to reach. He opened a drawer. I put this here because of this reason. He went drawer by drawer, and then he said, and here is a drawer with nothing in it. But again, the point, the laundry room was put together. I could have done loads of laundry if I had wanted to. That's the depth to which they move you. And zero stress. Again, I was fine, yeah.
So, you know, what we're trying to do is to share a lot of personal stories about this particular move, but also the role that move managers play. Now, we always know, are all move managers the same? Unfortunately not, but that's, you know, so if you're looking for a move manager, knowing what's important to you, and this may have given you some ideas and some things to think about. Of course, I think there's one right here that's the best one for us. But knowing the role. Then I also want to pick up on that idea that Linda mentioned it, if you're moving away. You know, this is great for local moves, by local, Georgetown, Austin, you know, that kind of area. But if you're moving to Stillwater, or if you're moving to Connecticut, or if you're moving wherever, say, well, who's going to unpack me there? Who's going to help with that end of the deal? Recommendations, Linda?
Yeah, so I belong to a national organization called the National Association of Senior Move Managers. So typically, if it's a large enough city or it's not too far away from a large city, then I can typically look on our association's guide and find somebody across the country that can help. So that's, usually we have that source. And with all of that goes, I mean, typically how something like that works. So even if you're moving to Dallas or Houston or across the country, what we would do is on our side, we would do all of this kind of the same thing where you're sorting and downsizing, and we would probably create the floor plans on our side too. But we would have that move manager in the other community or the realtor that you're buying from measure these different rooms, and then they would send us those measurements so that we could create those floor plans. So we would have all of that done, and then essentially send the floor plans, furniture pictures, any kind of notes that other move manager would need to know up there and wherever that up there or down there would be. And then they have that. They meet the truck, the incoming truck, and do the exact same thing that we do on this side. So it's pretty seamless. We would be separate companies, but we would be, you know, we work seamlessly. We all, although we're kind of an odd industry out there, and the fact that, you know, we do something different than movers, we as an industry kind of all do the same thing too. So they would take care of you like we do on this side.
Okay. Now, I want to pick up, I have a feeling I know what questions going through the minds of many of you. The elephant in the room. It sounds great. You're going to cost me. Okay, Gary. You know, so Linda, I know it varies, but can you give us some, are we talking 2,000, 10,000?
So it can be anything like that, honestly, and that's what we do. That's why we come out and have that meeting, because what we're going to do is we're going to look at it, and we're going to go through and we're going to estimate the amount of time. Everything's based on an hourly rate, and we go through and, like I said, we're going to say, okay, that's 15 minutes to do that, or that's an hour to do that. So that's how we build that estimate, and then we give kind of a $500 spread on either side of it. And typically we come very close within that range. And so I would say, if I had to say, and it's really hard because like I kind of expressed, if someone has crystal objects versus books, it's obviously going to take a whole lot more time for us to pack crystal and then unpack those. But I would say anywhere from probably 3,500 to 6,000, something like that. And it can vary. And if I get in there and I estimate too high, you're not held to that. You know, like maybe I come in there and we see what we see, but then you guys get after it and something gets done, and so you save yourself $1,000. I'm not going to charge you the other $1,000. I didn't do the work, and you know you saved your time. You saved yourself money for all that.
can I ask, the actual people that drive the truck that moves, do you hire them, or are they part of your?
No, well, what they are is this, so if it's an in-town move, we've got a couple movers that we're working with, and so what we do is we send them an inventory and an estimated box count. So this is part of that coordination, so in the beginning when we do the coordination and logistics planning, we send, and after we've done that floor plan, then we know what pieces of furniture are going, and then we have an estimated box count. So we send that to them, and then they have kind of an algorithm that they go through, which is, are they going up 3 flights of stairs, or is it all one level, that kind of thing. They put that into their program, and they pop out a quote. They send it to us, we review that for accuracy, and then we send it to you for approval. So that's a separate quote on the side, and then then that's the same thing, that's the same thing for the movers, like if you're going out of town. So we have a mover that we've worked with for, I think, 6 or 7 years now, that would go out of town.
Okay, I'm gonna hold these questions for just a minute, but I mean, that was a good follow-up, because, so there's the move management fee, there then is the mover fee too. I want to go back, so she says it varies so much, but I appreciate Linda giving us a ballpark figure of 3,500, to say whatever. But, and I'm there with people, and I kind of hold my breath too, because I know, oh, people are going to think this is so much. And I'm going, you've got to count the damage to your back, and you've got to, figure in, it's not just the fine. I see some people looking at spouses about that. As Linda said, Dick kept reminding me, you're not as young as you were when you moved here 18 years ago, or as flexible or whatever. But all of that is part of it, so it's more than dollars. Cheryl, what was your reaction?
I would use her again in a minute. I wouldn't make a move without her. Let me put it that way. It was worth every penny that we paid when I saw how many hours they spent and how many people were involved. I mean, there were a lot of people. But some things are just worth it. Like I said before, things didn't get broken. No big deal. But things didn't get broken. They were handled with care, with respect. I am serious when I say, well, our son lives in Florida, and I mean, it's reasonably we could end up there. I'm not intending to move, but my first phone call will be to her. It would have been to her, but I don't have a house to sell anymore. So, but I might call you anyway, make you help. But my first phone call would be to Linda to set this whole process up. To me, if you buy something and you say, oh, I bought this and it's okay, but I would never buy it again, this is the opposite situation. I did it. I would never move again without a move manager. As many times as I've moved, and this was 9 or 10 or whatever it was, it's worth every penny.
And I'm not doing this just as a sales pitch for Linda's group again, or other move managers, but what I am doing this for and stressing it is for your own stress level, welfare, health. When people say, oh, my move took forever, And I wanted to say one thing, I agree with what Linda said, she made an important point. They give you an estimate, and maybe your kids do come, and they decide, oh, well, we're gonna take all that stuff, so there is less stuff, so they will adjust accordingly. But what does not work, and we've had this, if someone gets concerned about the cost, they say, oh, no, don't do that, we're gonna do it. No, you don't move any of my closet. I'm going to do it myself. Don't do that. I'm going to do it myself. Well, they're left in this quandary, and it just creates, I've seen this, I've experienced it, where they do, part the owner says they can use, and then the person who moved is complaining about how hard their move was. Oh, it took us forever. It was so hard. Well, it messed up the system, and it's really hard. And I will say, when I sit through the meetings, and I know, it's a lot of money, well worth it. But truthfully, when I had, it's like, is this really So as Linda mentioned, she's a member and high up and has special certifications or recognitions with the National Association of Senior Move Managers. I've been through their initial training, and believe me, as I'm going through there, I go, yep, okay. You know, charges are right on.
So I wanted to kind of express something too. So in a move, you know, you typically, I mean, in every move, you're gonna have the cost of the mover, right? And typically those movers come in and they pack, and then they load the truck and then they unload. And I think what, so we, of course, we're in tune with what their charges are, and we're actually, you know, pretty close. But you get a whole nother level of service is what we believe personally. As you said, I've got these incredibly just kind and kind people that honestly, most of them have had long, successful careers and they like doing this to help people. So that's kind of part of it. But so, and there's just a different level of service. So you're gonna pay the mover to pack, or you're gonna pay someone like us to pack. But like I said, you get a different level of care, and you get that, you know, we've done it so many times. Movers don't deal with the logistics of the move, really. They just say, we're coming in and pack, you be ready, and then we'll get it on the truck and go. So we're dealing with all of the logistics of it. So I think there's just, for me, I think you get a whole lot more for your bang for your buck.
Definitely.
Yeah. So that's, you know,
Good point.
a plug on my part on that one.
Okay, I want to open it up now for questions. Are there now, if it's going to be specific questions about how much it's going to cost you to move or whatever, meet with Linda afterwards. She'll be over at our Seniors Living Surrender Services table. But questions about the process. Ron?
Virginia, you mentioned that there are different levels of move managers. What are the criteria for selecting a move management company?
Well, I think and I'm glad you asked me to clarify that. Within any, service, there are people who naturally do more. It's not necessarily they have different levels, but it's a matter of interviewing and having good questions. And what are your expectations? Do you deliver this? I know of situations where, and they're fine, but I've just felt from working with the clients, their client and my client, that they were kind of overrun. I mean, get out of our way, we're just going to pack the stuff. And, it's what's important to you. So if someone wants more information, we can help come up with some questions. But I think a lot, it's relationships, it's trust, check references. And if your communities, I know, like I was saying, in North Star, they'll have a list of people, but you still have to know who's the best fit for you. So
Just call Linda, don't bother with anything else. I'm serious, people. I'm not getting paid for this, okay? I've moved a lot. This is the best there is. I've never been packed like this before, ever.
Judy,
Do you hang TVs?
she asked you hang TV, so let's talk about the whole tech part of the move, so that's a good question.
Okay,
Help
so
with that.
as far as we hang all sorts of artwork, we do that, we can hang heavy artwork and do everything. That's the one thing that we don't do, but what we do is we vet all of our vendors, and so we have a vendor that we would call in that day and have them come in and hang that. That's kind of, I think that's the one area that we feel like, it's better to have, another professional do
But
that.
you organize it.
Yeah, but we organize that and get that lined up, and we'll have them there the first day or the second day, whatever that
And
is.
I want to
Okay.
pick up on this minute too, because also they coordinate with the communities. And Christy, you will appreciate this, and Patricia will. Some communities have different expectations, guidelines about putting things on the wall, and so they have established relationships with most of the communities. I know they're on the list of preferred move manager with many communities around here. Okay. You had another-
Yeah, real quick. Are there any other costs you can think of, besides the move
Yeah.
manager and the movers?
Right, okay, so there are boxes, right, your supplies for packing.
we
And
do
so
that.
how we,
Question was other costs associated with this move besides the move manager and the move, the supplies.
so supplies, and so that's the one thing, so, as I said, the movers, what we do is we obtain a quote and we send that to you for approval. And that would be a cost that you would pay for separately on that. On the boxes, what we do is we go out and we estimate how many boxes, and we order that supply of boxes, and we have that shipped to your home. We're gonna order too many boxes because we wanna have more boxes than not enough. And then anything that is not used, you're not charged for. We take that, we count whatever amount wasn't used, and it's taken off of that. But then we just charge that, we put that cost of those boxes onto your invoice. There's no upcharge, there's no, kickbacks from movers or anything like that, and we get preferred pricing on the boxes.
So that would be in your fee.
Yes, it would be in our.
It will be itemized.
And the guy that hangs the TV, is that also in your fee?
No, that would be outside,
Separate?
yes.
Okay, so we would pay them separate.
Yes, I guess other things would be things like if you have a mattress, mattresses have to be recycled. So then we would have that organized, it would be taken to the recycling, and then you'd have a fee for that. That's $50 to $100 per piece.
Where would we sleep?
Well, some people have multiple mattresses.
And so that can also begin to cross over into liquidation, which we'll talk about another time, but we've had people who have to take their existing mattress, because their new one's not gonna be there for a period of time, and how we coordinate something like that. Okay, here I had a question.
I have a comment or two and a couple of questions. One
There's
is,
gonna be a limit there, but go ahead.
I haven't moved as many times as that lady, but I was with IBM and frequently it's called, I've been moved. So from that standpoint, what she said, I think is probably one of the best seminars we've had.
Thank you.
The other comment is, or relative, is that timing is key to just about everything. Now, Dawn, is that your name?
My name is Linda.
Well, the things that you do for the most part is that you have a floor plan that you started with, and you know where you're going to. And now we start working around that. But from the standpoint of being able to downsize and not knowing where you're gonna go, most of the facilities have anywhere from 10, 1,000 to 12 to 1,400 square feet, and you don't know what you're gonna get into. The timing, once you have, and your name is on a list, once you know that there's a place to go to, you may have a month at most.
That's a
Now,
good
how do
question.
you anticipate, and how frequently is your services available within a month timeframe?
So, we can typically make that work. That's typically not a problem. We kind of a sweet spot for us is 3 weeks to, like, after we meet and then get you moved, is about 3 weeks. So by the time we measure the apartment, get the plans, you all agree to that, get the movers lined up, and then we schedule to get in there. We don't really come in and start packing until several days before your move. And so we have everything, lined up early. And that's why sometimes we need the 3 weeks, because maybe the moving company is backed out 3 weeks, that type of thing. But typically, the month is a good time reference for us, really.
So that goes back to the big picture of downsizing, And so if we have these general discussions, and when you're thinking about that, you don't know the specifics yet, but yet we know who will be involved, who we want to be involved. So once we get the call and say, okay, my apartment is going to be available, and usually you probably you have some period of time in there, and we immediately swing into action. And that's what's been nice with our team, because we've got the people ready to go. Okay, we're ready now to move. And so here is, and we can swing into action pretty quickly.
Yeah, and we have done, like, in a week or 2 weeks, so we can. That's if there's time on the schedule, but that happens, honestly, sometimes if someone's coming out of skilled nursing and needs to have something done quickly, we can try to hop to that and help for that circumstance. But, like I said, if you're saying you have a month, that's perfect, and I guess even if you're waiting for a place to open up, but you know that you might be interested in our service, if we can come out even 6 months earlier and have that meeting, and that way we've kind of already been able to provide, for the most part, an estimate, potentially, if we know how big the apartment's gonna be and things like that. And we can have furniture measurements and things like that, so that we're ready to go. Because we can build those furniture pieces on our computer and wait until the apartment's ready, or you have that one selected. So anything we can do up front is great.
And that's a key comment I think you just made, to plan ahead of time. so that you can get your red and green stickers, and I would suggest yellow, maybe.
So, yeah, and that's, we're gonna pick up on some of that in a minute with our downsizing club, but also with our downsizing, again, I'm trying to plug, but how, that's exactly what we wanna work together. So we already have it in place, and as you know, yes, so I'm probably gonna be moving to an apartment, the two of you probably 1,000, you're just a ballpark, or if there are unusual pieces of furniture that we need to start making alternative plans for. Okay, let me see, you may have one more, but any other questions, and then I'll come back to you, Gary. Dolly?
Well, if you're in the position that you're not really anticipating moving to an assisted living, but you're a widow and you don't have a lot of help physically to downsize, do they have people that you could hire that would come in and help you
So where would you?
physically downsize your home?
Is this, I'm sorry, is this just without a move? Yeah, we come in all the time and help people. We call it kind of decluttering and downsizing. So,
Well,
yeah.
Dolly was asking if someone is not making a move, but wants someone maybe kind of start that process. That's a great question, Dolly. In case you mentioned a widow who, I don't need all of this now, but I'm not moving right now. And Linda was saying that is a service that they can provide also.
Virginia, can I say that the getting rid of stuff is the most freeing feeling in the world. You look back and you say, I didn't need that stuff.
Hey, that's a great plug for next month's seminar, decluttering. Okay. There was a question right there, yes.
Well, maybe this is next month's subject, but we didn't talk about liquidation at all.
That's right.
So that's,
Liquidation's coming later. That's the reason I gave that context at the beginning, that I wanted us to really go more in depth on the move and how that can happen. And next month, the liquidation will come in a little, but it's even back to just getting rid of stuff. Liquidation, and so, anyway, we will cover liquidation in other ways too. It will be a part of, but it's really picking up on what Cheryl was saying about how getting rid of stuff can really be freeing to us. And so that's what we want to focus on. One more question if we have questions. Yes?
Is your estimate based upon mileage and price per pound?
Estimate based on mileage or price per pound. It's a mover type thing.
Well, I guess it depends. Okay, so mine is not, because mine is done on an hourly basis. Now, if we're talking about the movers themselves,
You're talking about a long distance, 1,000 miles?
okay, so long distance, yes, what they do is they do it on the mileage and the pound. And so what we do on that is give them the inventory. We tell them, kind of getting into a little bit, probably more than needs, but as far as some of those items that we will not pack because we want you insured, and so the mover will pack all of those things. They know what they're gonna pack. We've given them the inventory of what we're gonna pack, and then they'll give you an estimate on that. So, yeah.
Okay.
And that's standard within the industry, is the mileage and the pounds.
But she can still coordinate the movers for the cross-country moves too. All right, one more question.
to
then
go
we'll-
along with the television, you said you had a vendor that would, what about computers?
The whole tech question, okay, Joyce, yeah.
Okay,
You
so,
happen to know someone in your company who does a lot of good tech work, right?
well,
Your son?
well, sort of. So basically what we do on that is, we are not tech geniuses, but what we do is we do incredible amount of labeling. So before we even begin to take a single cord off of the back of your computer or your TV, we've labeled it and we've labeled what hole it goes into, so that we call it being monkey proof. And so basically when we go back in, if I labeled it and someone else is putting it together, I want it to be monkey proof, that they can just plug those cords back in. So that's how we deal with that.
That was one of the things that this person yesterday was commenting on, they got the TV up and computer and really appreciate it. Okay, other questions we'll follow up with afterwards. We'll be around, but there's some things I want to highlight. And first of all, I want to thank our panelists for being here today. I think it's fun. Like I said, we planned this one so we would delve deeper into this topic, both from Linda's perspective, behind the scenes, what are they really doing? and from the person being moved. And so I appreciate your sharing those perspectives. Our next seminar, get that slide up, will be April 14th, declutter, cut the clutter, getting your stuff under control. And this is one of those topics that, it can mean anything. For some people, cut the clutter means open a closet, stick the stuff in there, close the closet, and the clutter's gone from what I see. There can be some advantages to that. Others of you can be followers of Marie Kondo or whatever and fold everything in the neat little compartments. Judy Mayo introduced me to a great book about decluttering and get rid of it. And we're gonna have different perspectives represented. And so it's not just decluttering for the move, but I know there are a lot of you out there, so I'm not moving for 3 or 4 or 5 years or never. But maybe I do want to declutter some. It's amazing. Jeff sent me a neat article last night about how in our culture we have this thing about just kind of accumulating stuff. And welcome to come join us next month. And what's the next slide? Yeah. We have, go back downsizing and then we'll get that one. Okay, we do have, over the years when I've seen people who are really saying, I want to downsize and it's just so arduous, I need kind of a support group. Well, we have a support group. And so, for those of you who are thinking, I'm not moving right now, or maybe you are, but I really am serious about the downsizing part. And I want to get going with it. So we have a group, we meet once a month, first Thursday of each month, and it is a support group. And we share information too. We have a couple people here. If anybody wants to know more about Downsizing Club, I have some flyers on our table. Pat Sykes has been meeting with us. Judy Mayo has been with us. And how we learn and we share and we support one another. So I think it's been a great resource for people. And if that's something you're interested in, reach out to us. Okay, next we have a special announcement. It was made briefly last month, but Lori, you want to come, the Walk for Peace, Unite for Peace. Lori Schwank this is her initiative, so tell us about it, and she has information.
Okay. I have the flyers for you. You can take them, or we can pass them. Thank you for having me for this opportunity. I have a flyer for each one of you to take. This all started with the pandemic. You know, you've all been through the COVID, the masks, the vaccines. Do you do this? Do you not do it? Then George Floyd's death. And then we had shootings all over, and we still have them all over the country. And then we had the abortion issue come up again. And now we even have fighting on the airplanes, 33,000 feet above Earth, over little things. So the country has really been under a lot of stress. And today, on the Today Show, it opened up and told about 87% Americans are too stressed. And it's from all they've experienced the past 2 years. So I attended church and there was a sermon on peace. And at the end of it, they sang, we all sang, "Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me." Well, the next morning, the first word was peace. That was Monday. Same thing happened Tuesday and Wednesday. I thought, what is going on here? Thursday, I pick up the paper and there's an editorial written by 2 ministers, and it took up half a page. And they're citing all of these issues and stressing at the end of it, it is time for action, not just talk about it, but do something. We as a country need to get back to being peaceful. That was Thursday. Friday morning, I turned my NBC Today Show on, and they're interviewing a man, an author of a book called Unite. is finishing up. I didn't hear the whole thing. But he said he had a cross-section of people throughout the United States writing an essay. And the book was written during the first year of the pandemic. Of course, I ran out and bought the book. And he stressed, that's why I bought the book, it is time for the world. Now we've gone from local to country to the world. It is time for the world to get back to being peaceful. Well, after a whole week of this, I kept saying, I'm supposed to do something, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And I thought, well, it started with the sermon on peace. I'll go back to church, so I made an appointment with the 3 ministers, and they said yes, and I went and met with them. And at the end, I told them my story, as I told you, and at the end, senior minister said, Laurie, get a committee of 7 together and go with it. And I thought, okay, where am I going to go with it? But maybe the committee can help me. One of the ministers, and he's sitting here, Reverend Ron Swain, volunteered to be on the committee. He knew people and I knew people, and we had our committee of 7. Now this was a half year ago, and we have worked on this and came up with a walk for peace. And it's in a peaceful location. My sister-in-law, after church one day, said, let's drive through San Gabriel Park. My husband used to do that before going to Wildfire for brunch, because we were early. I said, okay, Kathy, let's go. And as we approached and drove through, I said, this is a peaceful park. It's a place for the walk. Approached the committee, and they agreed. So you're all invited, March 19th, to join us 10 o'clock in the morning. No registration fee, a lot of walks and a lot of runs. There's a registration fee, and they give trophies. And no, this is not that type. This is just get together, have fellowship before and after, and join us for a walk for peace. And we have music a half hour before. And of course, he's going to play or sing for us. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me, right before the walk. So that's it.
Thank you, Laura, and I just so admire her for taking the need for this. And so really, you want to put, anyway, she'll have table, I mean, she has her information sheets. Brielle will put some up there, or have them too. I know some of us have registered. I think Jeff and his wife registered. I did. I don't know. Brielle has. I think maybe she usually drafts her family for such things too. So we may have our own little group there that morning. But if you can join us, and certainly a need for this. I know sometimes you say, what difference will it make? But we're doing at least a step. And so congratulations, and we support you and appreciate your sharing it with us, Lord. One other thing to mention is Brielle mentioned this, it's in your binder. May 7th will be our shredding event with those income tax, so now we get to get rid of another year of the tax records and stuff. Just save them, and we'll be on May 7th at the Keller Williams parking lot. We had one in the fall, and a number of people.
At where?
Keller Williams parking lot. There's a flyer in there
Okay.
that has the location.
Okay.
It's our real estate office, and we'll talk more about that, but there is an information sheet. I want to thank you so very much for coming, and again, our panelists, thank Jeff for his support, Brielle, and I'll be around for questions, and hope to see you in April. If you need more, I really want an individual consultation to put some of this together, give me a call, and have a good night.